Hi everyone, welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. A nice little Friday night live stream to kick us off into the weekend. Joined by James from the Babbling Blues as well. Should be a good one. Wait till we get a couple more viewers in before I start chatting away because no one's here. But James, how's your week been, mate?
It's not been bad, to be fair. Obviously, very disappointed on Monday night, but I've gotten quite good at shutting myself off from Everton towards the end of the season. Like, it ruins weekends and weeks in the case of a Monday game at the start of the season. But by this point, I'm just so desensitized to it because I can just sort of picture it happening like this and getting a few bad results. So, I've tried to switch off from that. I've been back at football this week and been back at work and stuff. So it's been quite good, to be fair. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. I actually missed the Palace game. I picked a blinder to miss, didn't I?
Yeah, it looked that way, to be fair.
Yeah, I was at band practice on Monday and missed it. So I was like getting the score updates on my phone. I remember it was 0-0 half time. I remember going to the shop at half time thinking we're gonna get beat here. Come back, Hammers had made it 1-0, which is obvious. He's our best player. And then I remember it was just at this absolute heartache. And it's crazy because you begin to expect it, don't you? I've just said to you that I thought we were going to get beat, and then but it's when you're 1-0 up, something like that happens. It just absolutely ruins it. I remember we were halfway through covering Iron Man by Black Sabbath, and I looked at my phone and Batshuayi had scored. So I was like, absolutely just disheartened, really. But hello to Boons for joining the stream. Thank you for joining. And yeah, we're going to be talking about Brighton on Monday. We're going to be talking about injuries. We're going to be talking about Josh King, all that sort of stuff. And hopefully you guys enjoy it. We'll get a couple more people. I'm actually going to tweet that we're live because I haven't tweeted that we're live yet. So
that might help.
Might get a couple more viewers because I completely forgot to do that today. But yeah, Wormy, I can see you in the chat. We've got a couple more people coming in. How's your week been, guys? You enjoying it? Obviously, going into the weekend, we're getting closer to an Everton game, which, depending on the time, it can be a good or a bad thing. At the moment, it's not the best, but it is an away game, which should benefit us. I think I'm a little bit more confident than if we were playing like Brighton at home. James, what about you? Because the away game seems to be a little bit more, which is strange. Seems to be a little bit more optimistic now that it's away at the Amex rather than at
Yeah, it is strange, isn't it? But I suppose it's been a strange season, hasn't it? So I'm not really looking forward to playing Brighton at all, to be honest, because they absolutely love the XG, don't they? And they'll probably fill the boots against us. I can see that happening, which is always a bit of a worry. I think it'll be a tough game. We've never actually won at the Amex, have we? Since because it's quite a new stadium still. I think we drew 1-1 when Rooney scored a pen, and then we got beat last season. And it's mad to think we haven't played them since then. So I think it's gonna be a tough game, and it probably wouldn't be my ideal opponents either right now.
Yeah, definitely not. I think they're not a bad team. I know, like, Potter has he's a bit up and down as a manager, isn't he? They can often pull out a good result. So I'm hoping we can just see it through, get 3 points. That's going to be the main priority on Monday, rather than getting an impressive win. We just need 3 points, to be honest, to stay sort of up there. We've tweeted that we're live now. We should get a couple more people in the stream. Thanks for asking, Wormy. We're both okay. As James said, we're getting back to a bit of normality now. I've been in work the last 3 days. You've been back in work, haven't you, James? So it's good.
4 days.
Days are getting a bit more. The days are becoming a bit more normal now, which is a good thing. Can only be a good thing. Let's hope it stays like this. But when it comes to Everton, still no supporters in the ground. Still going to struggle at home, I think. We're just gonna have to see what happens on Monday. It's a bit of a what, isn't it? Something's gonna happen. Just let's hope that it's a win. But how do you think we can improve? Because I obviously, as you said, I didn't catch much of it. I know we missed a lot of chances, but based on the game on Monday, how can we improve on that? Because Palace, in some ways, are quite similar as a team. I think. I mean, Brighton, are similar in some ways in a team to Palace.
Yeah, it's mad because I think we mentioned on our podcast last week, we've only drawn 5 games this season, and they were United, which was a good result anyway, but in the circumstances, a really good result. Leicester, I think, was a pretty good result with no Allan and Decore that night, and we still got a point, which I thought was positive. Liverpool was a good result, obviously, we drew with them. And then the Burnley one was the only disappointing one before Palace. But it's weird because we've had so many games only won by 1 goal, like Wolves and Leeds. And I know it was 2 goals, but the Liverpool and the Leicester games were still pretty hairy. Chelsea, Arsenal, the list goes on for games we've won by 1 goal. But if you take those games and then you look at the Palace one is the one we absolutely should have won. We had no right to win a few of those games. Like the Leeds one, for example, I don't know how we got 3 points out of that one. But you look at the chance we missed against Palace, it's mad because we should have been 2 or 3-0 up out of sight by half time, and then even in the second half we had again 3 or 4 not just half chances, gilt edge chances almost. It won't come up on the stats, and you might not have even seen it if you missed the game. The Andre Gomez bit in the first half.
No, I listened to the first 5 minutes on the radio, and except for that, I've seen Calvert-Lewin's. I've seen his missed opportunity with the great ball. Apart from that, I haven't seen anything. I haven't even seen our goal because I didn't want to go back and watch it because I did not want to put myself through it. I know it was a really good goal, and I seen James put it through. Obviously, put it in the bottom corner. There was a couple of players there. But apart from that, I haven't seen any of it. I haven't seen Batshuayi's goal because I know what it's going to be like. And I did not want to think about it at all. I'm just trying to be as positive as I can going into this next one before it gets to Monday. 2 Monday kickoffs in a row as well. Considering there's teams now that are playing in Europe a lot, and there's teams with a congested fixture schedule, the fact that we're getting a 7-day break or something like that, and we're not winning. It's just, it's tough. The only good thing about it when we play like that is that you get a bit more of a break from Everton. It's just it's really, really frustrating. We'll talk a bit about Ancelotti's press conference a little bit later. Hello to Everton Zone. He says, how Gomez messed up that chance, I will never know. Can you talk me through it, James? I haven't seen it.
Well, I mean, even if you had watched the highlights, it wasn't on the highlights. That's what I mean. It won't come up as a stat, but basically, I think it was their corner, and he pressed quite well, Gomez, which was quite rare for him, and he sort of picked the pocket of Milivojevic on the halfway line, and then I think Milivojevic sort of fell over, so he's running from just inside the Palace half, and Richarlison, who pressed, I think it was Joel Ward, I think maybe, was running as well, and he was ahead of the ball. He's a good sort of distance ahead of the play. Charleston trying to make a run to sort of the back post, and Gomez just plays it when he's clearly 3 or 4 yards offside, and then Richarlison didn't score anyway, but everyone who watched it knew it was going to be given as offside, and it was just so poor because he did well to win the ball back, and he should have just kept running with it. He had 40 yards of open space. But he didn't. He played it too early, and we missed a really great chance. And that's what I mean when I say that won't come up on the stats, and it won't come up on the shots on target, attempts, the XG, all that stuff.
It was offside.
Because it was offside, and because there was, ultimately there was no shot to go down on the records or anything. So that was just such a good opportunity. And then he had a similar one where he picked the pocket of AU and played Richarlison through, and then to be fair, he should have scored. That was all on Richarlison, that one, but. Yeah, it's just so frustrating, and as pointed out by obviously Everton's own there, that it beggars belief how we didn't at least get a shot on goal, essentially, because it didn't count at all. So,
yeah, Kieran Jones, welcome to the stream, mate. He says another day we win that 3-0. Our strikers has an off day. But I mean, I don't know, but it's just you can't be having off days in the Premier League, really. And I feel like a lot of our forward players have had too many off days this season. They've been part-time for the majority of it. It's just, it gets very frustrating when you can't put, another chance away. And it's clear that we've, how good a player like James Rodriguez is, that he is the player that just puts one of them away in a tough game like that. It's just the rest of the team doesn't play up to his ability. But I love James. I'll stick by James, whatever. And just whenever he comes in, he'll score it. He'll do something like that. And without him, I think we would have lost that game because I don't know if anyone else would have put the ball in the net.
We would have done, absolutely. I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen the screenshot. There's 8 players between him and the goal, and he finds like the bottom, not just the bottom corner, kisses the post on the way in. It was just such a good finish. And you look at the chances we missed, and obviously, as you say, we can't be having off days. And at the end of the day, Lewin has to score one of the 2 one-on-ones. Absolutely, it's indefensible. Same with Richarlison. They've got a bit more credit in the bank than some other players for certain, but they still need to be putting at least one of those chances away. I think they probably had half a dozen between the two of them. But yeah, James has just got that bit of quality. We were saying in our podcast again that he is our match winner. He is our own in terms of can just turn it on like that. Our own Harry Kane or Mo Salah. I know they're entirely different footballers, but just in terms of their impact and the quality that they've got, that's why he's played at the top level for so long. I think it was his 100th goal in European football as well, which just kind of goes to show his pedigree. Yeah. So,
have you seen the meme of Big Bird sitting at the table? Yeah, it's really good. Absolutely amazing. On that. Yeah, just boss really. But it's just frustrating when obviously he's a world-class player and you don't get players who play up to his ability because you don't. Because as I said, it's like if it's Gomez or it's Calvert-Lewin or someone like that. I love Calvert-Lewin, but he's not as good as he can be yet. And he needs to be putting stuff that away. And to be fair to him, he came out the day after, didn't he? And he didn't really give any sort of war cry rubbish that we're used to. He just, come out and said basically nowhere to hide. It's just we need to. It was my fault. Should have put the ball in the net. Hello to Philip Mason. Thanks for joining the stream, mate. He's a regular. James is one of those players who looks like they're doing nothing, then out of nothing, boom, brilliant player. I love players like that. He doesn't have to be working all the time. When he gets the ball, he seems to always be in 10 yards of space, and he always seems to be able to just pull something out of the hat and do it. Like at Anfield, he played that killer ball through to Richarlison. When 3 minutes in, I think in previous years, most of our signings would have taken about 10 minutes just to get into the game immediately. And so when you've got a player who can do stuff like that, it's fantastic. Hello to Josh Erdley. They're having a good little chat they're having a good little conversation in the chat there about Belotti. I was going to talk about transfers now, but we may as well, zoom through it now. James, because there's the likes of Belotti who's been linked, Dybala's been linked, who's a bit of a, that's not going to happen.
Guy.
Yeah, there's been quite a few like that, hasn't there? Under Mashiri, I think it's sometimes his ambition can take over a little bit, but you got any sort of names you think that this summer you'd like us to go for? I'm interested to see about that Japanese centre-back because, as I said, back in work now, I haven't been sticking up to date with the daily Everton news as much as I was in the last couple of weeks. But it seems like there's a couple more whispers going on at the moment, and transfers seem to be coming a bit more to the forefront. Wormy Spoon says that Daka, who's a player that they're talking about, a striker, he's 22 and has 30 goals and 8 assists in 31 games, which is unbelievable if that's actually his record. It's fantastic. But you got anything you want to add on first, James? Because we definitely need a couple of players.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the depth we've got it's nowhere near good enough. Obviously, Max Aarons is going to be the name banded around pretty much until it happens, which I think until that happens, or we sign another right back. But I think we will end up getting Max Aarons in. Patson Daka, I think, is a really, really highly rated player out of Salzburg, and he just scored an 11-minute hat-trick last week with 3 really well-taken goals. And I've heard a lot about him this season just on Twitter. I can't say I've ever watched him live, but I have seen some clips of him, and a lot of people are talking about him. It'd be interesting because getting someone out of Austria, we've seen in the past, it can work. I think Sadio Mane is probably the best sort of example in the Premier League at this moment in time. But then obviously look at someone as obvious as Erling Haaland, for example, players who can absolutely tear it up in that league and can more than hold their own when they come over here. So I think that's an interesting shout. I haven't really thought too much though in terms of my own opinion, if you like, because it's just like because I think it's because one, who you can get changes depending on where you finish in the league. If the higher up we finish in European football and what have you. But then just secondly, I've just been watching less football just because I just hate watching about fans, and I found myself watching less Championship, less sort of Serie A, La Liga. Things like that, so normally by this point I'd have maybe a bit of my own shortlist of players who I think are quite interesting. And then Marcus Thuram was one of them who's now doing really well at Borussia Mönchengladbach. I think he was a Gangomp at the time.
Left winger.
Yeah, left winger, can play striker. Yeah, he was someone who is like the name you get banded about when you do watch a lot of football like that. But just because this season, the way it's felt too different, I haven't really got one at the minute, other than, I say the obvious, but Patson Daka is someone I think I'd be really interested in. And as I say, Max Aaron as well, I think is pretty much nailed on by this point.
People are saying there about him versus a player like Belotti from Torino. He's still at Torino, isn't he? About how they prefer, Belotti's 27. They prefer like a more experienced player. Who's a known goal scorer, but someone to help Calvert-Lewin, because maybe neither of them are 30 goal a season strikers, but between them you probably will get 30. So do you think that would be a better option? Maybe like a bigger name, a more of a more experienced striker, someone maybe who's a bit more of a presence with a bit more experience to go up front with Calvert-Lewin, because as good as Calvert-Lewin is, I think he would benefit from having someone to sort of usher him into the next level of his game, which he's hoping is just getting more goals and becoming a striker that deserves to be playing in Europe.
I don't know. Again, I can't profess to have watched lots of Belotti since he had that real good breakout season where he was sort of Ciro Immobile level of goals for Torino. I think that was maybe 2015, 16, something like that. And I don't know, I just feel like if you don't hear about much from him. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like if you don't hear much about someone, because he hasn't replicated that since. I think he had a couple of decent seasons, but I'm not sure. I think we're in a bit of a sticky situation where you have a striker like Calvert-Lewin, who I think is going to be starting every game, and that's what I think you want to do, because if he can improve his sort of his composure in that one-on-one situation, and we can make him maybe more effective outside the box in terms of scoring goals, you then start to look at a player who's going to be worth,
a lot more money.
Yeah, I was trying to think how many figures it is. 9 figures, I think, 100+ million. So that's what he needs to do if we want to get him to that level. And I think in that scenario, we're probably better off with someone who's a bit younger, or even someone like Ellis Sims. I know he scored a cracking goal last weekend, but hasn't quite lit up League One. And if you can't light up League One, you're probably going to struggle in the Premier League. So I'd like to think that for where we are right now, if we sold Calvert-Lewin, someone like Belotti would maybe be a good option depending on the style we want to try and play. But I think whilst he's here, we probably need to just look at a bit of an understudy for him, which is what I assume was the plan for Josh King when he came in. But obviously that's yet to sort of bear fruit.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. But I just think, for me personally, I do like the idea of a big striker who's gonna, come in and sort of be I think he needs that that sort of focal point up front with him to say, I'm going to be as good, if not better than him. Because at the moment, apart from Richarlison, there's Josh King, who we'll talk about later, who hasn't really had any sort of look in since he's came in. So I can understand why people want a new striker, especially after his performance a bit later on. Sorry, a bit earlier on in the week against Palace. But I'm going to do something never done before on the stream. Just going to read through one of Carlo's press conferences, and we're going to talk about each individual point. So injuries, first of all. James, he mentioned injuries. Gomez will not be available for Brighton. Did he get an injury against Palace, did he?
Yeah, I mean, it might have happened when he played that ball to Charles. I think I heard someone say that, but yeah, he pulled up about 15 minutes later, and Sigurdsson came on. So it's mad. He stayed fit for quite a while, actually. He's always a bit injury prone, but yeah, no, he got injured against Palace, so he went off after about half an hour.
Yeah, Alan is being checked. He was obviously missing, wasn't he, against Palace, which is I don't know why he was missing, but I don't know. It seems like every week we're having to check these players for injuries who've had no injury. It's confusing me. It's confusing, and he mentioned about James a little bit later in the conference. That's an interesting one because, for example, Alan is being checked. He trained normally this morning, but from last I checked, he didn't have an injury.
I know, yeah. It's like, I mean, unless it happens on the day, I just find it mad how we went into a game on Monday and there was no Alan, there was no Bernard, there was no Alex Iwobi. I don't know whether Gomez had a bit of a knock going into the game and obviously then goes off injured. But I'm just looking at it thinking, how can we go into a Premier League game and not have a handful of players out of nowhere? Like, it's just mad. Our injury luck this season, I think it's gone under the radar, even amongst Everton fans at times, because we've just kind of powered on through it. But the injuries we've had this year have just derailed us to no end, and it's really frustrating. But you'd like to think Alan would be fit going into the weekend. Obviously, I think you'll come on to it, but good news about Decore. Looking like just to come back before the end of the season, which is nice for that central midfield. But at the minute, we're down to the bare bones in that position if Alan and Gomez aren't fit. So.
Sorry, my mic muted itself there. Yeah, I mean, Iwobi is back. That was his word. What do you think of that? Because Iwobi, we obviously spoke about him a lot on our video about him, didn't we? And it's just a bit. If there was ever an Everton player that I don't know what's going to happen with him, it's him. I just do not understand where he's going to fit in the future, what he's going to do. I don't think Carlo really likes him as much as he was playing him a lot earlier on in the season. Iwobi, yeah, get you commenting about Iwobi, guys. Let me know what you think. Should he be in the team for Brighton? And we'll talk about our lineups a bit later. Pickford is not 100% and won't be risked. So that means it's gonna be Olsen. Olsen again. I didn't see his performance against Palace. So yeah, what was he like basically? Because I didn't see anyone really talking about him a lot.
Yeah, fairly nondescript. I think he made 2 or 3 pretty, safe saves like any Premier League goalkeeper should make. I think Rob Green was on co-coms, which was quite interesting having a goalie on there, and he reckoned that he showed Batshuayi too much of the goal to aim for when he scored, which I think seemed a little bit harsh. But then again, we said in our podcast, it's the sort of thing Pickford would probably get blamed for, and then I'd sit there and say, you're only saying that because it's Jordan Pickford in that. So I think that'd be a little bit harsh. But yeah, again, it's just like, why is our goalie injured? Like, why is he out for so long? It just doesn't happen, does it?
Why have we had so many goalkeeper injuries? Never seen a goalkeeper injured so much in my life. Like,
it's so innocuous as well.
It's strange. It's like, I feel like since Ancelotti's come in, there's always it seems like there's more injuries on average than there used to be. It's really, really weird. I don't know if it's in the training or something like that, or obviously he's not been in the club since in a normal season, has he really? He's had like 1 normal game. But it's like so many injuries, so it's tough. Joshua Eardley says, are people still happy with Olsen? I still don't think he's the solution. It changes game by game, this, doesn't it? But after that, after Palace, what's your opinion? Should we keep him? Because I know Paul said on the pre-match that we did for Palace, he said that he thinks he's going to stay, and I agree with that. But what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think I might have said this before then as well. I just have no opinion on him really. Like I say, changes playing game by game. He's had some games where he's performed quite well. Other games where I thought he's been okay. Honestly, I genuinely don't care whether we sign him or not, and that probably isn't a good sign. Like I just have no opinion on him. I thought getting him in the first place was a bit not bizarre because obviously we moved on Stecklenburg, for example, in the summer, but. Yeah, you talk about Alex Iwobi, a player that you just don't know what's going to happen with. I'll take that one step further. I'd pick one Everton player who I wouldn't care if he stayed, left, signed permanently, came back on loan, whatever. It's Robin Olsen. Like he's been all right, but I think we either need to go and get a new starting goalie, or put John Pick back in and then go back to what we were. So,
I'm trying to think if there's any other players that have been like that. Because obviously we got quite a lot of loan players in Martinez's season, didn't we? His first one. But players who've, I don't know, inoffensive Everton players is probably a topic, isn't it? It's like, which Everton players have we signed that you've just not really cared if we kept? Like, and I'd say Robin Olsen is that player. He's the most interesting, incredibly middle of the road player, isn't he? In the conference was Decore. He was asked about Decore, and he said, and this is his exact words, he will play again. He had the scan last week. Everything was okay. He's going to have his next scan in 3 weeks, and then he can start to train. So it looks like we're going to see him before the end of the season, like you said before, James. So that's a strong thing. We might still see our strongest 11 this season.
Well, yeah, I'm certainly not holding my breath for that. It was positive, though, and I like the fact that Decore came out and tweeted it. I've been in work today. I was in sort of 1 till 5, so I just had like 5 minutes on the bog, just sat there on Adam Jones's Twitter, just going through all the things on the press conference, and it felt quite positive. I mean, if we're playing well and we're winning, me and my dad will sit in the back room and we'll sit there waiting for it to start, and then we'll watch it together. If we're in a situation like this, then I'll wait for the Twitter update. I can't bring myself to watch it, especially whilst it's on Zoom. It's just a nightmare to spectate. But yeah, positive news on Decore, and I say you'd like to think we can have our starting 11 midfield before the end of the season, but I wouldn't put any sum of money on that happening, unfortunately.
I'll read out his tweet. In case you haven't heard it already, guys. Hi everyone, hope you are doing well. My rehabilitation is going very well so far. I'm confident I can play this season again. Anyway, I can't wait to come back on the pitch and finish the season the strongest I can. Thank you for all your support. A couple of replies. We replied, the Toffee Blues. Can't wait to have you back on the pitch. Dukes, County Road Bobblers, good fans of the channel, said look forward to having you back. The Mighty Blues YouTube, another good fan of another good friend of the channel. Yes, Abdullah, we all can't wait to see you back in blue. Brilliant to hear the recovery is going so well. Someone said, can't miss you running past my window. That was a good tweet. We really, 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 really miss you on the pitch. And then we had a couple of French people replying to it. It's just good to see when there's a player that like you can get behind on Twitter. It's like, in an age where there's so much rubbish going on Twitter with football, it's so nice to see some actual support for players, isn't it? Because I've got to be honest, it's testing me resolve Twitter at the moment, the amount of rubbish that happens on it. But that's a good one, and he seems like he's going to be coming back, and he's going to be coming back better before the end of the season. Really excited about that one though. And then he commented on Palace draw. Obviously we drew against Palace, everyone knows that. The biggest lesson is when we have the possibility to kill the game, we have to kill the game. Unfortunately, we conceded in the last period, and we have to accept the results and keep the performance, which was much better. At home, we could do much better. That's the common thing, everyone knows that. But I suppose with Ancelotti, it's a bit different to if like a Marco Silva said it. You know that once we get a couple more players, it's more likely to happen, isn't it? It's like with the players he's got, we're just going to have to accept where we are. We're going to have to wait until we can get some more really good Ancelotti players before, killing the game when we have to kill the game, which is what he said, actually happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'd like to think, with fans coming back to a degree just before the end of the season, I think it might be the Wolves game or Sheffield United. I can't quite remember, but obviously meant to have 10,000 fans back before the end of the season, which would be really nice. And that's a game we're going to have to win because the sort of condition you've given this season in terms of the home form is that we haven't had fans there, and it is going to be hard. So he's right. We have to be much better at home, and I think we want to get fans back. We can get some players back. We have got some good points at home this season, but there's been far too much nonsense like there was on Monday. So that is a big improvement needed.
Yeah. People in the chat talking about Mere there. We'll talk about him a bit later, guys. Just carry on going through the press conference and seeing what is what. He's obviously, I said there about Twitter. He mentions about the fight against racism and how it's absolutely just taken over on Twitter, and it's just terrible. It's really annoying, really bad to see. Bad to see with all of the, I know Swansea themselves, I think they're taking a hiatus off Twitter, aren't they? Which is interesting. That's an interesting take. And I mean, people can say that it's not really going to affect anything, but it's a different take on it. It's rather than just releasing a statement. It's actual concrete movement, isn't it? Which is, I suppose, good in some ways. So, yeah, it's definitely, we need some stronger penalties for it. I'm all for the whole put your ID in, verify your age when you get a Twitter account or an Instagram account, because it's just awful, to be honest, and it's no place for certain people. But moving on, James Rodriguez, who we spoke about earlier, another player that seems to just be injured for no reason sometimes. When James Rodriguez is fit, we have more opportunity in front. Key passes, final shot all the time. He was fit. We had more opportunity. We signed him for this reason. He said key passes, final shot all the time. He was fit. We had more opportunity. And then he said something else about him as well, which I'll find. But that's the crux of it, isn't it? We just play better, and British guys, a football team plays better when their best player plays. No sort of surprise, but I just love him. I really do. I think he's fantastic. The quality he's got unbelievable, and he's not flashing the pan either. We know that. But yeah, I just love the guy. What do you think, James? Because we would have struggled on Monday without him, and as I said, I don't think we would have got a goal without him.
Well, yeah, we probably wouldn't have. You have to say, when you're playing against a goalie who seems to be saving, the good effort, and when you're playing with strikers who can't seem to put the easier effort in, so to speak, when, as I say, you need someone who's got that star quality, and we haven't got a single footballer at the club who's got that. You see flashes of from someone like Bernard or someone like Richarlison who can create something out of nothing, but it's few and far between. Whereas James, if he can do it, nigh on every game he plays, he is our best player. He's our most creative player. He's our most important player in some ways, not in all ways, but in some ways. And yeah, I just can't believe that there's people who think that we are better when he doesn't play. It makes no sense to me. There'll be some games where maybe he isn't best suited to it, and I can appreciate that. But to suggest that we're not, it's just that we are better when he doesn't play, it's a nonsense. And if it wasn't for him, then we probably wouldn't have created anywhere near as many chances as we did. And teams are going to have to start making specialist plans for him, I think, because once he starts to get really fit, get the pre-season down and all those cliches going into a new year, we could see him playing even better than he has done this season, which is really exciting for me.
Yeah, you feel like a proper pre-season for him and maybe a normal season, he'd just be fantastic. And with better players behind him as well, we can shift the likes of Andre Gomez out and stuff like that. I think we will benefit from having Decore Allen behind him. And just like in that first game of the season against Tottenham, we were absolutely brilliant. And when them three, just finishing off as well for the press conference, he praised and he picked a name out and praised a young lad called Lewis Warrington. Never heard of him. James, I know you're a bit more up to date on the academy than me, but he said, I think we have a good academy, not only Lewis, but there are players training with us a lot of times. I can say that our academy is good because we have players with talent. I think we have a good future in that sense. But talk about the academy a little bit. I haven't watched too much of it, and I know they scored a brilliant goal Man City, didn't he? Was it the Cup or the League? That brilliant last minute winner, wasn't it, at City? So looking good for the academy at the moment. It's a good. It's nice. It's good to see that there's a couple more players coming through, but it's nice that Ancelotti's picked one out personally, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Sam Carroll, who's at the Echo, gave a lot of praise for Lewis Warrington after the game on last weekend against City. I didn't watch the game myself, but apparently he was very good, and I've heard some good things about him as well, to be fair. There's a cracking picture of him I was just trying to find there, but I can't seem to find. Oh, here it is, here. Of when he signed. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but that is a cracking Ketwig. That is absolutely terrific. God. He was born to play. He was born to play for Everton.
Born to play for Everton. Yeah, I can just see him in the bar after the game. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that is class.
Wow.
I think
brilliant.
As I say, I've not seen too much of him, but from what I've read, he's meant to be a bit of a terrier and centre mid, all action centre midfield player, which is bit of a dying breed and something that you can quite often get in younger players, which excites me. And it was nice to see him getting a bit of praise. It's interesting because he's not been one of the ones chosen to be on the bench. But with Taron Onyongo being injured, Delph and Bernard have just fallen off the face of the earth. Maybe we could see him rather than a second goalie or something in the coming games, because I think it'd be quite exciting if we get someone breaking through and getting a bit of a chance. I think that's quite exciting.
Be nice to see a different player, and obviously really bad luck that for Tyler Onyongo, isn't it? I mean, he's just getting into the first team. He's been in, he's made his debut. Looks like Carlo would have threw him in again before the end of the season at some point. But it's so sad because, you know, a young lad who's come through it so well, still really young, and he's got a really bad injury like that. It's horrible. Really, really sad. But we'll move back on to Monday's game. Have you got any worries about Brighton, James? Because they worry me. I know there's the likes of Welbeck, who's playing quite well at the moment. Solly March, I don't know if he's fit. A couple of players who I think are good for Brighton, and I think they've got I think of the teams down there, like Newcastle, Fulham, I'd say they've got a bit more quality than them too, personally. I know that they're probably just about safe. I think it's going to be between Newcastle and Fulham for me. I don't think Brighton will get sucked into it now. I think they're still going to be. I think they're still going to be pushing for a win here, because if they beat us, I think they're pretty much safe, aren't they?
Yeah, there's no doubt for me that they're going to stay up. I think there was a period where they were on a bit of a slippery slope, but I think you can always rely on them to get a result. And as you say, if they were to beat us, that would practically confirm it. It's between Newcastle or Fulham for me. I think people will say that Brighton don't deserve to be down there in terms of the XG, and I think expected points has them 5th or 6th, which is just insane. But in terms of their overall play, they have been a really, really good side to watch. But ultimately, they can't do the hardest thing in football, and that's put the ball in the back of the net. So I don't think you can have too much sympathy if they were giving away loads of penalties or they were conceding off set pieces. If it was something that they could fundamentally work on, then fine. But they can't do the thing that teams generally always struggle to do, and that's do the final bit of play, that's put it all to use and put the ball in the back of the net, as I say. So I think that's probably the biggest issue Brighton have got. In terms of particular worries, I mean, Tariq Lamptey does worry me, but obviously he's injured, isn't he? Which is good for us, I suppose, but we shouldn't be too scared about Brighton's right back. But the names you mentioned, Danny Welbeck, it always seems to pop up and get the odd goal. Leandro Trossard, I think, is a really top player, and nice to see him getting games for Belgium. I think he scored 2 or 3 goals in the break. Yves Bassoum is terrific in centre mid. I think they've got some really talented players, Brighton, but they do have some square pegs and round holes. I think Pascal Gross has been playing right wing back. They had some lad I've never heard of playing left wing back against United. They've promoted a few other players through the academy and stuff. So I've got no problem with Brighton, and I do think they've got some good players, so it definitely won't be an easy game. I think we predicted 2-2 on the podcast when we did a bit of a run in one. So
yeah, I'm just looking there they're actually talking about Brighton. They're 3-0 up at how well they've beaten it. Their under-23s have beaten Southampton 3-0. So there's the opportunity, maybe if you've got players out, they might throw a couple of their younger players in against us. If there is, but Basuma is an absolute monster, isn't he? I think he's a cracking player. And if they were to go down, which I don't think they will now, he's one that would definitely be moving on because I do like him.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if he's still there next season, because I think if you pick the two shot players every team wants, all action centre mid, Idrissa Gueye and N'Golo Kante sort of vibes, but offers a bit more going forward, I'd suggest. And then obviously a goal scorer, someone to put the ball on the back of the net, as I said earlier. So yeah, Basuma looks a real top player, and I'd be pretty surprised if he's still playing for Brighton next season. I think we'll see a big offer coming from him. You'd love to think Everton would be in for him. It is the kind of player I like, but I think he'd probably be just out of our price range. I think he'd probably want to go play in Europe at this stage of his career.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at their recent results. Obviously, they beat Newcastle 3-0, which is, pretty much thrown Newcastle right down there, hasn't it? And as I said, I think if they'll be looking to get a win against us to really put themselves, further than that. So just looking at a couple of their players, there's Yahak, who seems to be quite a popular name when it comes to Danny Welbeck. Obviously, is a player that's been around the houses in the Premier League and does score goals, like it or not. And obviously, there was the lost 2-1 to United as well. Unlucky not to get the penalty there. Yeah,
I watched the first half of that game, and I said to my dad, this is going to be classic Brighton. They're going to lose this game because they scored, they had 3 or 4 other good chances. They let a couple in down the other end, but nothing particularly clear-cut from what I could remember. But I just said they're going to get beaten. I didn't watch second half, and then there was no surprise from me when it went to 2-1 and they were getting beat again. That's been their problem all season. It's kind of like what happened with us on Monday, but imagine that for 32 games of a season, more or less. They've had probably half a dozen, 8 maybe good results. I think they beat Newcastle 3-0 on both games they played them, but games like United, they got beat. The home fixture, I should say, they got beat after the final whistle. They were beating Leicester and they ultimately lost that game. As a couple of examples. So they've just been so wasteful. The Crystal Palace one the other week, where I think their XG was something close to 3 and Palace's was just non-existent, and they got beat 2-1. It's like, it must be so frustrating for them, but at the end of the day, I think these things level themselves out, and next year, I imagine they'll probably be in the mid-table reaches of the league easily.
Yeah, going through that team there, there's Connolly, who comes in and does a good job every now and then, and Alzate, I think he scored the goal at Anfield, didn't he, Alzate, when they won there. Beltman's a solid centre-back. Ben White, who's one that Leeds were after him, weren't they? I think he played for them, and then he went back to them.
Yeah.
So, there's players in there. I think Mopai's out. I don't know if Mopai's playing. I don't know if he was suspended or injured, but I think he missed the last game. I can't remember. I think that might be why Welbeck.
Yeah, I think Welbeck played. Yeah.
Moises Caicedo was a player we were linked with, I think, in January, and I think he went there because he wanted more regular playing time, didn't he? I think a weak link I can see is Sanchez, the goalkeeper. I don't think the goalkeeper's great. He hasn't covered himself in glory this season. So let's see what happens, because they have got a couple of decent players. I think for the squad they've got, I think the position they're in the table, which is 16th at the moment, is a little bit offensive towards them. I think they could be doing better than what they are. Maybe with a better manager, I think they could be doing a bit better than what they are. But it's still going to be a tough game. We're the team that have lost to Palace. We've lost to Newcastle below them. We've lost to West Ham, who were doing very well. But it doesn't seem like it. We're going to struggle in every game this season. There is no winnable games anymore. It's unbelievable. But just going back to that United game the other night, quality just outbeats quality sometimes, and that was one of them games where it did happen. Going to talk about Josh King a little bit, because there was comments about him today where Carlo didn't want to talk about his future. I just don't know what's going to happen with him, mate. I don't know what you think of him. I don't think anyone's got an opinion on Josh King because no one's seen enough of him.
Yeah, I mean, Robin Olsen being inoffensive, Josh King is like, he is the definition of inoffensive, isn't he? Like, I was very pleased that we signed him. I thought he'd come in and have a decent impact, but yeah, it's just been a bit unlucky because I think Richarlison Calvert-Lewin hit a decent bit of form when he was arriving, and then he was cup tied when we really could have used him in, well, maybe not the City game, but certainly the Tottenham game. He would have got minutes if he was able to come on, especially when Calvert-Lewin went off. So that was unfortunate. And yeah, at this point, I can't be surprised. But if he gets a deal, I think he needs to. I say he needs to come on and do something, but if he doesn't get any game time, then it's going to be really hard for him. If he comes on for 10, 15 minutes here and there, that's nowhere near enough. Yeah, you talk about, again, incredibly inoffensive Everton player, Josh King. Either way, I'm not too fussed. So we'll just have to see if he can bag a few goals for now at the end of the season, because ultimately, whether he plays or not, he needs to do something to earn a deal. So.
Yeah, he definitely falls within that thing again. Another player, 2 in 1 season, an inoffensive Everton player. No one really cares if he stays or goes, I think. And I don't know if he's got the class. We can just get a better player than him, mate. I think there's better players out there than him. I would have loved him. I remember probably about 5 years ago, I would have loved to sign him, but not now. I mean, he was really good for Bournemouth when he came up 16, 17. I remember he tore it up for Bournemouth, and he was a player I wanted us to sign under Koeman. I would have loved him up front to replace Lukaku. He was my choice, one of them at least. And we ended up getting Sandro. We all know how that went. But I think he's dropped down into the Championship. He's come back up, and I think Marcel's played it quite well in the way that he put him on a 6-month deal with no sort of clauses in it that we have to keep him. So let us know what you think in the chat, guys. Should King get a chance against Brighton? I suppose, though, we have got to give him a solid starting chance at some point. There is a way to put it. There is a way to put him in. We know he can play on the wing and stuff like that. And Carlo is a bit of a tinkerer. He might throw him in a different position to what Wiens, which is an out-and-out striker, but he can throw him into a different position. So we'll have to see what happens with that one. So it's definitely watch this space. It's one that I want to see. But yeah, get your comments in, guys. Ask us any Everton-related questions as well. Me and James always willing to answer them. Yeah, just anything about Everton. You can ask us about our first games, our favourite kits, anything like that. Been live for 45 minutes, so we'll probably go to about an hour. So yeah, if you guys get your comments in now, we'll be able to answer them before the end of the stream, because we've got a couple more bits that we want to talk about, and then we'll just talk random Everton stuff, because it is nice to zone out a little bit, isn't it, and just come away from the game that's coming up and so we're going to talk starting lineup for Brighton, but I think after that we'll leave Brighton where it is, because it's one until it gets to the pre-match on Monday. I'd like to avoid, but starting 11, obviously Pickford is out, so it's going to be Olsen. What sort of defence would you go for, James? Because a couple of people earlier talking about how our centre backs probably aren't as good as some people make out them to be. I think Yerry is underrated. I think he's underrated. Holgate has the good game every now and then, but I don't know if we've got any real quality apart from Ben Godfrey that's going to make the difference, and that was why we conceded the goal on Monday night. But what sort of personnel would you like to see in defence?
Yeah, well, definitely like to return to the flat back four. I think just the 5 back just feels like it limits us. But at the end of the day, it needs must, isn't it? We've got defenders fit. We've got Coleman, Holgate, Godfrey, Mina, Keane, Dean, Nkunku. Unless any of them pick up an injury overnight, which is entirely possible. It can and probably will happen, to be fair. So it's hard, isn't it? Because if you play 5 defenders, then you have to worry about one less central midfield spot. So as much as I do want to go to the back four, thinking about it now, no Gomez, potentially no Alan, no Decore. Yeah, probably will go back for a 5 back, but it feels like we're like stagnant when we play like that. I'd probably end up with Coleman, Dean, Godfrey, Keane, and Mina maybe, or maybe Holgate rather than Mina potentially, just to get someone a bit more mobile, because they are quite tricky, Brighton, and with the forward line, which we touched on, the likes of Trossard and Welbeck, potentially Mopé, McAllister, Zakiri, players like that. So I think maybe to match them up with a bit of a 5 or 3 back, either which way you see it, is potentially going to be the way forward, just so we have one less central midfield position to worry about at the moment.
It feels like a game you'd like to see, something like that, doesn't it? Something that maybe a little curveball in there somewhere that's gonna give us the edge over Brighton, because we definitely need something different to Palace. Josh Eardley has just said that he thinks Josh King is the worst Everton striker he's ever seen, which, mate, that's just... There's no, he's not.
No.
Seeing the likes of Nias, seeing Sandro. A lad who played about 60 minutes in an Everton career, is not nowhere near. He's not even had. Not only has he not had long enough to prove that he's good, he's not had long enough to prove that he's bad. So no, that's enough. Hello to Cam, who's joined the stream. I've just put his asterisk one up. Let me get his proper comment. Cam from the Mighty Blues, as I said before. Cam, I actually read one of your tweets out on the stream about Abdukore. He says, "Evening, lads. Interesting comments from Carlo about King. Can't see him staying past this season, to be honest." And yeah, that's same for us. We were talking about inoffensive Everton players, and we think Olsen and King are 2 of them. 2 players that you don't really care if you stay or go. Moving aside slightly, when it comes to Cam, go and watch his Park End podcast on. Listen to it on Spotify. You can watch it on YouTube and any good podcast providers, because I was on it. I was one of his recent guests. It was fun, really, really fun talking to Cam, talking about all things Everton, talking about old stories. It was really good. I spoke about the time I was a mascot at Anfield. I spoke about music. I spoke about me life outside of Everton. Just so much fun, really good. And Cam's channel, I think he's just hit 4K subs as well, which is massive. So yeah, go and check Cam out. I don't know if you're still in the stream, mate, but go and check out the Mighty Blues on YouTube. Really, really good. Also, before we go back onto focusing about squad for Monday, Philip Mason's just give us a Boston there. What's your favourite all-time spec at Goodison Park? Mine was the old Park End. I'll let you have this one first, James. Your favourite spec to sit in? That's a brilliant question. Can't believe no one's ever asked that. Well, I've never answered it, but yeah.
Well, second favourite is behind the goal, Gladys Street. I was there for a couple of games, but I was there for the Hadjuk split game, and that was just class, because I was far enough away from the chaos in the corner that I wasn't in any danger, but I was still just loving it. It was one of the first games I went to by myself.
You like to be in your
the
game. You don't want to be anywhere near them.
Yeah, so that was good. But for me, it's Upper Gladys, and then wherever we go, if you're looking at the pitch, we're far left-hand side, front row, sometimes second row, but mostly front row whenever I go with a match. And the best seat I've ever been in. It's just nice because obviously we attack the Gladys Street end second half, don't we? Nigh on most games we play. So best seat in the house I've had so far, but I'd like to sit in more places, because I've probably sat in more bad than good, to be honest with you. Like right up in the heavens, family enclosure, back of the stands.
Like behind the post.
Yeah, I've been behind a pole before. While you let me know yours, I'll try and dig out the photo from Lille a few years ago. I was behind a pole. Trying to find that now.
I wasn't at that game. I don't
really?
I think I might have been at. Yeah, but I'm trying to find my. There it is. I was trying to find my view for the game, and I've had to scroll back to the 18th of August 2019, the last time Jean-Philippe Gbamin played for Everton. Interestingly enough, it's the last time I uploaded the picture of my of my view. Just going back, interestingly, there, the tweet right above it is, "We are underway here at Sincil Bank, straight in Blues. Kick-off, Lincoln versus Everton, 28th of August 2019. 1 minute goal, nightmare start for the Blues as Harry Anderson fires the hosts in front." And I just replied, someone will die. And I'm like, I can't believe it. Yeah.
Oh, that was awful.
Anyway, but I think we ended up winning though, didn't we? So that's actually my view. When it focuses eventually, I'll wait to see if it can. I don't know if it'll.
Yeah, I can see it. Anyway. I'm with it now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the lower Gladys, and I'm sort of to the left behind the goal, but quite far back. And it's the best seat I've ever had at Goodison. It's amazing.
I love being really good heads in the lower Gladys.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing, mate. And I'm right next to where that singing section was for the time until some weirdos got it cancelled. I really like that.
Strange. And
as much as people moan about it, I thought it was a great thing because Goodison was becoming a bit quiet, wasn't it? And they introduced that, and it was good. I liked it. So, but people got
it. Yeah, that was the most positive I've been about Goodison for many years. That when they brought that in,
it was Silver's first season was quite positive. I remember coming out of that game, the last game, at home to Burnley, I think it was.
Yeah, I was there.
And that was my, and that was I come out of that game, and that, apart from, well, obviously until now this season, that's the most positive I've ever been about Everton in my life. Come out of that game. I think there's a big tweet I put out about it, and it was when that statue of the Holy Trinity had just got put up on the day.
Yeah.
And that was the most confident I was about Everton for a long time. So we were playing well. We'd beaten Man United at home 4-0, and then the backside just fell out of it, didn't it? It was just, it was awful.
I went that game in shorts, so that was why it was just a game being able to get a match in shorts, like nothing better. I found that picture of the pole as well from the Lille game. Can't even see the goal. Awful, that isn't it? Like you know it's restricted view, but then you're behind that and you're like, why is this even a seat? Like,
no, why is that even allowed? But you know what? It's actually interesting, isn't it, when you go through your old tweets? Wow, 4th of April 2020, I was doing the poll. I did a poll for Everton kits. I split up Everton away kits into a World Cup. I got 32 away kits and put out polls for it with a group stage of each 4 of them. That was fun. And you can actually check that out on the Toffee Blues website. There's an article about it, and I ranked the top 10. But anymore that there's Inky Squids just said, have you seen Fabian Delpa's got a sponsor of hair products? I couldn't stop laughing for about an hour. Does he really? If so, that's one of the silliest sponsorships I've ever seen. Favorite specs. I remember I used to sit in the paddock at one point. I was in the paddock when I was really young. I was in the first row of the park end. That was a nice little spec. The top balcony is terrifying. The main stand, apart from the wooden seats, the main stand isn't too bad. But no, me seat I'm in now is me 100% best spec. I absolutely love it. But yeah, get some more questions in like that, guys, for the last few minutes of the stream. We'll keep talking about squad just in case anyone gets any in. But squad, people, you've got to keep Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison in. I think even if them two have bad game, there's no one in to come and replace them. So I think them two got to stay up front.
Yeah, I mean, it's that thing again of I think generally speaking they've both been quite clinical in terms of our XG is generally quite low in most games we play, and Calvert-Lewin's got I think 14 league goals, so he's done quite well in terms of the chances he has got. I know he missed chances against Burnley, still scored. I know he missed a chance against West Brom 1-on-1, similar to the ones against Palace. So I know maybe recently he hasn't been too clinical, but I also just think that if the ball's flashing across the face of goal, we're probably not going to score unless Calvert-Lewin's there. And whilst Hammers on the pitch, we are hopefully now going to come into a stage where we make half a dozen, 8 chances a game rather than 2 or 3, because they have fed off scraps for most of this season. I think it's worth mentioning. So if Hammers is pairing and he's on form, then we should have more games like Monday where we do create chances and eventually they are taken.
My argument for Calvert-Lewin is always he's just had no service at all. And I know he's had the service on Monday and he missed a couple of sitters, but he his confidence is obviously quite low when it comes to Everton at the moment because he's missed a couple. He needs 2 goals or 3 goals, to put himself back up there and think, yeah, I can score. Because in the start of the season, when we had our full strength team, he was absolutely banging them in. And as well with England, when there's a class midfield behind him, he scored in those games as well. He scored a few goals now for England, hasn't he? So it's going to be. I just think, yeah, we got James up there once Alan's back in there providing, because not only is Alan a good defender, he's quite good going forwards as well. And when Decore gets back in there, but you've got the likes of Sigurdsson and Gomez behind him, and Sigurdsson does the odd good thing every now and then, and I don't think he deserves quite the amount of hate he gets, but when there's like a Wobie who can't even put the ball in the box the most of the time, Bernard, who's just what even happened to Bernard? Andre Gomez. It's just funny enough as well, talking about Bernard. That game there with Gabam, I remember him scoring the winning in that game. I remember he was fantastic. Like, he was fantastic for a good run of games under Silva. And I don't know where it went wrong with him. I couldn't pinpoint exact moments. Yeah, I couldn't pinpoint an exact moment. If I could, I like to put them to the back of my mind. But yeah, when we've got James behind him, maybe a Leon Bailey type of player in the summer as well, or a really good winger at least, to put the ball in for him. Give Luca Dean a bit more time to get forward with maybe a better defender next to him to give him a bit more cover. Someone to cover in midfield as well. I think he is the right answer for Everton. I think he's definitely the right answer at this point in time. I think he's the best we can do. But I would like to see what people have been saying there. I would like to see a bit of competition for him, proper competition, not Josh King competition. I'd like to see someone like the lad who was getting mentioned earlier, and also Belotti. People like that, really. Inky Squid's got a good question there. He says, if you could buy back one former player from recent years, who would it be? I know your answer's going to be, I know mine's Romelu Lukaku.
Yeah, has to be. Absolutely has to be. If you're looking for someone more realistic, though, who I think we could genuinely re-sign if the opportunity arose, it would, off the top of my head, it would probably be Nikola Vlasic, I'd suggest.
Yeah, that's an underrated one, isn't it? A couple of people mention him. He said Lookman, obviously, so.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Yeah, I think Lookman's decent, but I think I'm sure there probably is a better answer there, to be fair, but I think Vlasic. Start of this season, I think John Stones as well was potentially one, but now I think he's back in the Champions League sort of form, isn't he, Sam? Yeah, obviously I think Steve's having some internet troubles, unfortunately. I imagine we'll be wrapping up in a second anyway. I've got tea on the way, and I am starving. Yeah, I think Steve might come back in now, but we'll call it there. So nice one for listening, everyone, and up at Sophie's on Monday. Nice one.
All right, guys, I can see a couple of you still in. Yeah, my Wi-Fi went out halfway through that sentence. But thank you if you did join. James has gone. I just wanted to come back in to say thanks for joining the stream. If you are still in here, I can see there is a few of you. Yeah, hi Inky Squids again. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to be able to get back in. But yeah, as a problem, it went off and I just cut out completely. The stream just fell through. YouTube didn't work. So, but we're back. And yeah, just wanted to come back to say bye to you. I didn't want to leave like that. But yeah, hope you guys did enjoy it. Inky Squid, my dream guitar is a Rickenbacker 330. That's my dream guitar. But anyone watching the under-23s game? No, I'm not. Thank you for watching, Dean Ambrose. Stay safe yourself, mate, and enjoy your weekend. Wormy, thanks for coming and joining as well. I'll read out some of the names if you guys are still in. If you throw your name in the chat now, guys, I'll read it out and say goodbye to you and wish you a nice weekend, basically. So yeah, just leave any sort of comment you want, as long as it's not like a bad one, obviously. And I'll say goodbye to you, basically. Well, I'll give it a couple of minutes just to say sorry for cutting out. I didn't want to run out on you like that. But yeah, I'm hoping that doesn't happen again. A Gretsch G56 55 TG for me in Cadillac Green. I've got a G26 22, but without the tremolo on it, mate. That one there, a red one. But it's not a red, it's more of a walnut colour. But yeah, they're nice. You should get one. See if anyone else is still in the stream. Anyone else still in the stream? I can see that there's a few of you based off the viewer count. But if not, I'll just end it here. As I said, sorry for that. Hello to Joseph Fail, Mopai hat-trick incoming, you know that. Yeah, I don't know if he's fit or not, mate. I think we were talking about it, me and James, before. I don't know if he's going to be fit or not. I hope not, because he's a good player and he just likes to score. No Bigsby, walnut colour, nice though. Hard to find cases for Gretches. I've actually got a case. I'm looking to sell it actually. I'm looking to sell me Gretsch on to hopefully finance another guitar, a better one, because I'm in college and I'm wanting to go up to the next level, and I want a guitar basically to take to like uni with me and stuff like that. And Yeah, so I'm looking to sell it. So if you're ever interested in buying it off me, mate, just DM me on whatever, or message me on YouTube or in the chat or something like that. But I have got one that would fit it. Inky Squid says, what kinds of guitar? Well, I'd like to buy a Strat for if I'm going to university. I'd like to buy a nice Fender Strat, a proper one. Yeah, if I'm going to be taking it properly like that. Hello to Wormy Spoons as well, who's still in the stream. Inky Squid says, yeah, what kind of guitar? Yeah, no worries, Inky. Whatever, mate. If like I said, if anything ever changes and you do want to buy it off me, just let me know. But I will be looking to sell it soon to get another one. Inky, you said you're not good enough, mate. Just keep practicing. You'll get there. You get better at every single skill. Enough out practice, and you might not be Jimi Hendrix, but you'll be better than most if you put the time and effort in. A good platform to sell on is Reverb. Yeah, I was looking to sell a bit more local though, just so I don't have to rubbish with all the shipping and stuff like that. Wormy says, don't sell them, keep them all. I do want to sell them just so I can replace it with another one. Wormy, I'm not like I'm selling them and giving up. But I do, I do want to keep them as well, guys. You guys know that I am a music student, I do play guitar and I'm in a band. If you want to see any more like insight on my band and stuff like that, go follow me on Instagram. It's Stephen Andrew Humby on Instagram. So if you want to go and follow me like that, I'm always uploading pictures like that one. Get it in front of the camera. I'm always uploading that sort of stuff. I'm trying to get it because I've got a ring light here. I'm always uploading that sort of stuff. There's my band. That one as well. That's me on the drums. So if you want anything on, if you want any more of the musical side of me, go over to my Instagram and follow me, and you'll learn a bit more about it. Inky, I can't play something because I'm going to end the stream now. But yeah, guys, thanks for joining as well. Thanks for sticking around because I was out there for a couple of seconds. But hope you all enjoyed it. As I said, we'll probably be doing one for Brighton on Monday. Inky, you've hit 20 subs. Really happy. That is quite sad. No, it's not. 20. Every milestone is a milestone. Every single one. I've got a personal channel that I don't really use that much, and that hasn't even got 20 subs on it. You keep making content, mate, people will subscribe to you. That's the general thing of YouTube. People follow you. Just people will follow you. It's crazy. You make good quality content. Even if you think you can get better than what you are now, you're always improving. Like I said before, any skill you will improve at. Blue Nose Dublin says, to get the win, should we start with DCL King and Richie? Could do. We spoke about it a bit before. Once I end the stream, Blue Nose Dublin, you can watch it all back on YouTube, which is the art of technology. It'll all be there, all 1 hour and 15 minutes of it. So you can watch it all. Me and James spoke about it. But yeah, see you later, Inky Squid. See you later, Wormy. See you later, Blue Nose Dublin. Joseph Fail, thank you for joining. And yeah, hope you guys all enjoyed it, as I said. Thank you for joining. Thank you for supporting. And obviously, make sure you leave a like on the stream before you go. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you in the next one.